is up, my beautiful human beings, and welcome back to another episode of the Stay RAD podcast. I am so thankful and grateful that you chose my podcast to listen to in this moment, and I'm sure it is not a coincidence. Am I right? Am I right? Anyways, y'all, you already know who the heck I am. I'm the motherfucking hostess with the motherfucking mostest, right? And you already know why you're here. So let's jump right in. Jump right into the water. Y'all, today's episode is extra special. I know I say that for every episode that I host. That's because I'm a special ass bitch. So, of course, it's going to be a special ass episode. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, it's a special episode because I am bringing on a guest, a friend, a human being in this interaction of life to pretty much just share her story, her version, her perspective, her reality, like just share what she has to say in hopes that it will, hit some of y'all, hit some new people. Who knows? Who knows what can come from this? But this is a really dope conversation because my guest, Crystal, who I met Crystal, I haven't even met her in real life. I met her virtually. And it's so funny how I met her. I'm not exactly going to say we didn't work for the same company at the same time, but we still met through a company. But I'm going to make a special podcast episode about that because it's going to be an episode that kind of gives you guys some insight on how to truly use your intuition and how you should trust your intuition from my perspective and how it works for me and my intuition. And a little relative story to go so it can kind of paint the picture a little clearer for you. Anyways, she's coming on here to kind of just give us an inside look on how she quit her full-time government ass job. That was like pretty fucking deep too, like pretty deep, right? Pretty heavy shit. And became her own entrepreneur. Like she has her own business, she does her own shit. And listen, this girl's like, we all go through shit, right? That's kind of like the point of life. Like you got to go through shit to learn from shit so then you can like go through shit again and now know what the fuck to do. Okay? You let it make you or break you. And everybody on my podcast, it will always fucking make them. I will never bring a story that breaks you because that is not fucking inspiring. And at the end of the day, again, we all go through shit, all of us. And I want to make sure that the shit I put out there energetically is positive as fuck, is inspiring as fuck, and is not a fucking sad story because I don't want your energy to attach to a side story, to a sad story because I don't want your energy mingling with shit you don't need to be fucking mingling with. All right. So, with that being said, I want you to put your hands together. Put them together. I'm waiting. Put them together for my beautiful, amazing guest, Crystal. And here she is. Woo! Crystal, thank you so much for joining me on this episode collab. It is such a blessing, my friend. Such a blessing. How the heck are you?
Girl, it's really an honor. I'm stoked that you asked me for this. I'm really excited to meet with you today.
Me too. And let me tell you, it was just so fluid when I asked you. I like just DM'd Crystal right when I saw like a reel. It was like, Crystal, do you want to do a podcast collab about that? She was like, yep, December 5th, this time, boom, let's do it. I'm like, damn. How did that
It's got to go
sound?
in the calendar.
Yes. She is ready. I can respect a woman like that. Oh my goodness. So, just to give a quick little backstory, I know I mentioned it in the little like intro before on this episode. So, Crystal and I haven't like physically met yet, but I feel like I've known you for like a very long time, which is so funny. But we pretty much kind of as they had a virtual greeting several months ago for I guess a coaching job that we both worked at, but not at the same time. And like I said, I'm going to make my own episode on that because I really want you guys to understand intuition and kind of like see what that was like through my eyes. But that's how we met through coaching, mutual coaching kind of partnerships, which is so fun. It's how I meet everybody. But I saw a reel that Crystal posted on her Instagram, and it was like her swinging or some doing something active, sitting, just looking so fucking cool. And she was just saying how like she quit her government job and pretty much became her own boss. And I was like, wait, what government job? Because I knew Crystal did coaching, but I wish did some government work. So I was like, wait. We gotta get you on. So Crystal, what the frick? Like what did you do before you became like your own entrepreneur, your own boss lady? Like what's the story? Tell us. Paint us a picture from beginning.
Yeah, I was working as a clinical social worker in Texas at the Houston VA hospital. So I was working in the substance dependence treatment program, which is their outpatient clinic for substance use disorders, veterans, high trauma, high suicidality. I was also working in little part-time rotations in their PTSD clinic, which they call PCT, as well as the DBT clinic, which is primarily for high suicidality as well as personality disorders.
Yeah. Dang. And how the heck did you even like get into that?
Oh, yeah. I always loved helping people. That's just
Yeah.
kind of like the bottom line. I mean, in high school, I was a tutor. I always stayed late after dance practice to help the other girls learn the dances. Like, I've just always been a helper. And so initially, I thought I was going to go to school for nursing, and I ended up becoming an EMT. I was working on an ambulance for a long time. I did that for 6 years.
Sheesh.
And then I kind of felt stuck because I wasn't happy. I kept getting in trouble for like talking to people about alternative health things. Like I wasn't telling them to stop their medication.
Right.
But I was like, you might want to try this essential oil too, or like try this herb too. And like my paramedic partners would be like, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, why not? Like,
Right.
I'm not, like Eastern and Western medicine both have their place.
Yes. Yep.
So I was just really bummed out because I thought I was going to go from EMT to paramedic to nurse. Like that was the track that I was going for. And once I was in that system, I saw how nurses were being treated, and I determined that's not what I wanted to do. So then I just felt stuck because I was like, I know I need to go back to school. I know I'm not happy doing this. Some people genuinely love being on the ambulance. Like they just
Yeah.
really love it. My adrenal system did not love it because
Oof.
even when you're not on a call, there's that constant feeling of at any moment the tone can drop. So, some firefighters really enjoy like cooking at the station and like taking naps and stuff. And it's like, yeah, you're on the clock and that's great. But for me, it was just like, I can't enjoy myself ever because at any moment I'm going to have to stop and run.
Yeah.
So I
Dang.
I was at the station one day and I was listening to one of my favorite radio stations at the time, which was like an online streaming radio station called Hay House Radio. And one of my favorite authors was on there, and she was like, if you have any questions, feel free to call in. And I was like, F it, I'm going to try calling in. I feel stuck. So I got through. And got to talk to her. And I was like, I
Dude.
feel stuck. I don't know what to do. And so she gave me the best advice ever. She was like, if money had nothing to do with it, she's like, I want you to pretend like money has nothing to do with it. And
Mm.
I want you to go volunteer somewhere that makes your heart sing.
Oh, I just got chills. That's some great fucking advice.
And so I did that. And it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to go volunteer and do. But I found a brand new budding GLBT drop-in center for homeless teens.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved it so much. Like, I worked my way up the ladder and became the supervisor over all the other volunteers. And it was still like a volunteer position.
Yeah.
But once I got to that level, I got to know all the other volunteers really well. And they, like, a big chunk of them were in school for social work. And I didn't know what the heck social work was.
Yeah.
All I knew was, like, social workers are the people who, like, come and take people's
Take your
babies
kids away. Yep.
Yep. So I was like, oh, like, if this is social work, I'm so down. So I enrolled in a bachelor's level social work, like, school, like, yeah, college, without even knowing what the hell it was. And I remember vividly sitting in the very first class. It was literally called Intro to Social Work, or Social Work 101.
Yep.
And I just started, like, tears just started falling. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, I found it. Like, I can't believe there's a degree in learning how to help people.
Yeah.
And so through that undergrad program, I learned how many options there are for social workers. Like, I always knew the reason that nursing called to me was because I knew that if I ever got tired of, say, like, labor and delivery, then I could go over here to surgery. And, like, there's lots of options for nurses.
Yep.
And I learned that that's the case with social work too. You can be a government social worker and work in policy. You can fight for, there's so many things you can do. Medical social work. There's just so much. So I was like, okay, this is it. So through my process, because I had already had so much experience on the ambulance, I learned that medical social workers paid the most. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to work in a hospital, because that's, I was like, I want to go where the money is.
Right.
And also, I had always really wanted to work with kids with cancer, because we had a contract on the ambulance with Texas Children's, and those were my favorite patients. So I was like, okay, I'll go be a social worker at Texas Children's. Like, that was the grand goal for a while.
Yeah.
And then once I got into graduate school, you had to apply for your rotations. Like, after you got through all the classes, then you had to apply for your clinical rotations. And I applied at 4 different hospitals. And 2 of them actually paid for the internship, which is rare.
Wow.
Like, of 90 internships, only 3 paid, and 2 of them were hospitals. So you can imagine how like, competitive they were.
Right.
So I actually got 2 of them. And
out of the rareness, she still got 2.
I actually got offers at 2 of them. One of them was at the Cancer Hospital, MD Anderson, and the other one was at the VA. And I got a really weird vibe. Like, Texas Children's did not pay, and I got a really weird vibe with that interview. So again, with the intuition. But I always thought, like, I had it on my vision board. I had a photo of me above my desk of me standing on the Texas Children's Hospital mat, like, as soon as you walk in with the big glass doors. And I was like, this, in my, like, bright purple and yellow shirt and my backwards hat.
Love that.
And then when it came down to it, I was like, this is not it. This is not it. Interestingly enough. So then I had a very challenging decision choosing between what I really thought I wanted, which was oncology, and the VA, which offered so much.
Yeah.
There's so many different rotations. And the VA was federal government, so upon getting hired, the pay is even higher.
Right.
So I ended up going with the VA. I went with the VA. And it was cool with the VA because they allowed you in that clinical rotation time, they allowed you to choose 3 rotations. So I
Oh,
got to
cool.
dabble in everything. So the first
Yeah,
rotation I did was oncology, which was what I thought I was going to love, and I didn't. It was
interesting.
very much not what I was hoping it would be. I was hoping it'd be a lot of like grief and bereavement and like healing, like let's process before you're
Yeah,
passing. And it was more just a lot of like paperwork and like working with the family. There wasn't a lot of like actual like clinical work with it.
yeah.
And so I was really disappointed. Like I did get one I got to do one semester case study that allowed me to go deep
Hmm.
with one of my patients. Um but
And when you
that
say
wasn't
deep, what does that
typical.
mean? Like, what
We
what
were
does
doing a
what does
lot of
all that
like
look like?
cognitive behavior therapy, like a
Okay,
lot of like cognitive restructuring.
got it.
Yeah, helping him
I,
process what he thought were life mistakes with his daughter and that kind of stuff.
oh, yeah. Wow. See, I had no idea that like social workers or anybody, honestly, even goes that deep. Honestly, this is so shitty to say, but like I just had this idea, which I'm sure most people do, because if you're not interested in this, why would you know anymore that once you're in the hospital, you're dying, that's kind of it. Like you
Yeah.
die or you go home and you die. There's not really any other, hey, let's kind of like review. How do you feel? Do you even know what the fuck's going on? Let's get you ready. It's actually beautiful though.
Yes. Well, that's what I really wanted to do, but I discovered that there was not a lot of that in the oncology unit.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
I
why
wonder
isn't
why.
this going on?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah, yeah.
Weird. Huh.
It's almost like
That's
the system has
interesting.
like already given up on them.
Which is unfortunate. Is it because they can no longer, oh, this sounds shitty. And you would know more since you've been in these kind of environments. Is it because it's like we're no longer going to be profiting from these people? Let's get them out as soon as they can get out, I guess. Or like what the fuck could be the reason?
I mean, it's tough because like the VA is a whole like entity on its own that's different from your
Oh,
traditional hospital.
hospital. Interesting.
Um, and I never had the experience of working in another hospital. I did have the
Yeah.
experience of being contracted with SNFs, which are like skilled nursing facilities,
Hmm.
and those were at like different levels. So like the private pay ones versus the Medicaid and Medicare ones,
Right.
um, totally different animals, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, really interesting. But I determined that was not for me. So then my next rotation was in HUD-VASH, which is their version of Section 8. It's like their version
Yeah.
of setting people up with like housing first.
Yeah.
And that I really loved. I felt like it didn't, believe it or not, challenge me enough. Like I really wanted to go deep with people. I wanted that like therapy
Yeah.
aspect.
Hmm.
So the final rotation I got that, and that was SDTP, the Substance Dependence Treatment Program, which is the program that ended up hiring me.
Yes. Wow.
That was
Third
a
time's a
really long
charm.
way around, but that's
Third time's a charm.
yeah.
My goodness. And then how long were you doing that for then?
I was there for 3 years.
For 3 years. And did you love
Yes.
every single moment of it?
I loved the one-on-one contact with
Yeah.
people. And surprisingly, my favorite thing was the group therapy. And
Mm,
funnily enough, when I was going through school, I was like, group therapy and like, how can you possibly impact people in groups is what I was thinking. Because I'm like, you need that like one-on-one
one on one.
interaction.
Mm-hmm.
But groups, there is this like magic that happens in groups because people's light bulbs turn on when they hear other people's story that resonates with them. And there's this like altruistic nature with people that like hear someone else's story and they'll be like, hey, do you mind if I offer my perspective? Like people, like seeing people help each other and me not have to be the only authority on the matter
Yeah,
is so beautiful.
it is. It's a
Yeah.
really good feeling seeing other people want to not only because it's like I felt this myself when I was in a group atmosphere back when I was in a mental hospital and we had to all do group things and I was over here like Jesus fucking Christ, I hate the group shit. Like why would I hate this shit so much. I really do. Like take me one
Yeah.
on one so I could tell you my feelings. But let me fucking tell you, was I humbled real quick because you realize that there's a sense of trust within a group that yeah, you do get one on one, but it's just more relatable when you have others that are different ages, look different, come from different backgrounds, but it's all kind of like the same story of pain. I just want to be loved. I just want to resonate. You know what I mean? And it's like you almost find that in that group a little bit. You find that hope.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. It's the hope. It's the hope that you find within a group that's different when you talk to just one on one with like an authority figure that you know you have to talk to.
Right. Oh, thank you for sharing that. We have that in common. I was inpatient as well as
Yeah.
a young teen.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's rough when you're younger and you're going through it. But
Yeah.
honestly, it brought a lot of awareness to me as an adult now. A lot of awareness as an adult. But I like how you knew from just like, well, did you know from a young age, like even before kind of entering the school system, like knowing like, yo, I know I just want to help people. Like, were you born and like you just knew that you had it, that you wanted to help people? Because I was. I like came out the womb and was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, but I know it's gonna empower the fucking world. Like I knew.
Funnily enough, my mom, I think my mom, well, I know my mom wanted me to be famous in some form or fashion. She had me in like modeling,
Get
commercials,
out.
acting,
Stop.
like beauty pageants, like all the things.
No, I can't see that. I can't even see that from you because you're so fucking laid back,
Yeah, I
at
mean,
least
I was like
from
the
what I
whole
know.
like what is the John Benet Ramsey? Like I was like had the super
No.
long hair with curls, oh
No.
the
Oh
whole thing.
my god! I can't even see that.
Yes. But it's funny, like in one of the beauty pageants, I was like 3 and they asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up.
Three.
And I said I wanted to be famous like Elvis.
At three.
But the funny thing is like I don't know if that came from me or if it came from my mom because she was like
Yeah.
obviously like she obviously wanted that. She like saw my name in lights, like
Hmm.
she wanted that. Yeah.
Are you the only child?
I'm the only child. Yep.
Yeah. And did you also have only your mom kind of growing up, or was your father figure
My father figure was
involved?
there but very absent.
Yeah.
Lots of alcoholism and workaholism. So he was like the provider and he was like
Yeah.
had the lights on and the groceries in the house,
Yep.
but he wasn't around.
He wasn't he was a father doing what he had to do to support his family, but he wasn't a dad. Like,
Yes.
yeah. All right. I get that. Mine too. But still respect it because someone had to put food on the table.
Absolutely. And I
I want to
mean,
like home.
yeah, making it happen and without a college education and
Yeah.
he was
And
an
then that shit's hard.
entrepreneur.
Yep. And that shit is hard. It is very difficult, especially like it's difficult as a woman who only has a cat. I couldn't imagine the pressure of literally having to fucking feed a family. Like,
Word. Word.
right?
Yeah.
My gosh. So, with that being said, I hope you don't mind me asking. I'm just very interested, and please let me know if anything's too personal. We could just cut it out
Yeah.
of here. But so growing up with kind of like your mom just being like that main go-to parent that you had around, what what did your mom do for a living?
So at first, when I was super young, she owned an auto detail and body shop, and my dad was a used car salesman. And that's how they met because
Oh my
he
God, how
would
funny.
bring her his cars.
How funny.
Then over time, so that stressful job, under that stressful job, he had 2 or 3 heart attacks before I was 1.
Your dad?
Yeah. But he had
Holy
me late in
shit.
life. Like, he didn't have me until
Oh,
he was 40. But still,
still,
yeah,
that's young.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's really young.
So he had saved up enough money to quit that job. And when he quit the job, my mom quit the job too. Like, they both just folded.
Yeah,
And they just raised me for a little bit, and then he started getting into entrepreneurship. But he had 3 failed businesses before the 4th one made it.
nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn.
So she just, like, supported him, and, like, with the one that made it, she was, like, the bookkeeper. She did all the, like, back end stuff.
Got it. Did you ever feel like you were kind of like that golden ticket to your mom? Like the, oh my God, I hope this one makes it. Oh my gosh, you have to do X, Y, and Z because we need to catch a break. Like someone's gotta fucking make it in this family. Like,
For
did you ever feel like
sure.
that? And like, how long did that last?
Yeah, I just felt like I just I think my way of coping with the stress in the household was just I developed that, like, golden child mentality where it's just like I have to be perfect, I have to be well behaved. Like, even my dance teacher asked my mom, "Was Crystal ever a kid? Like, is she ever a kid?" Because I was just like the well behaved, well mannered all the time. Like, I was around adults all the time. I also went to a
Mhm.
private school, so I didn't have any friends in the neighborhood. Like,
Yeah,
I learned to play alone. I learned to be okay by myself.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just learned from an early age not to rock the boat.
Mm,
There was enough chaos going on with, like, my dad's alcoholism and all that.
right. Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that kind of has it's just so interesting, and I'm asking these questions because I noticed such a pattern with, like, high energetic, humans, especially when they all end up being entrepreneurs for themselves. It's because we
Mhm.
low key don't play well in the sandbox with others, and that's okay, as long as you realize that. But also, I've realized that a lot of us come from, like, just maybe trauma is not the best word, but of a lot of adversities from a very young age where we either kind of feel like the black sheep or we feel like we take on everybody else's wishes and dreams and energies. And that kind of gets lost for a while as we grow up because now we're like, I need to maintain that image. I need to maintain what everybody expected from me because I'm the one way out. I'm the golden ticket. I'm that Willy Wonka bar, right?
Yeah.
And then we get to a point in our lives that, like, at that point, resistance and the universe is like, bitch, I can't even help you because you just made a sharp ass left turn. You went so deep, I can't even navigate to that GPS coordinates. And then typically that's really where some real shit happens in our lives. And at that moment, it's either like repeat or evolve. And once you
Yes.
evolve is the fucking awakening and the big breakthrough. And that's when I notice everyone is like, I'm doing this shit for myself. I'm taking a fucking chance on myself. I'm doing something different. And that's why, like, let me ask these questions because I feel like you are embodying exactly that. Like, exactly that. Do you feel like that
Totally.
resonates?
Totally resonates. And it took me a long time to even find myself or, like, learn to be authentic. Like, I love your hat so much
Thank
because it's
you.
like authenticity is so important, and I didn't learn that until my 30s. Like,
Yeah.
because as a child actor, you're told to be whatever they want you to be.
Damn.
And it's just like, I mean, I remember I had really long hair. I was known for my long hair. And my mom was like, you know, you if you go in there and they ask you to shave your head, you do it. Like, you're willing to do whatever it takes to get that part.
Shit.
So it's just like when you're so used to other people telling you who to be, it's really challenging figuring out who the fuck you are. Like,
Honestly,
yeah.
shit. Well, I'm at least glad that you figured it out finally in your
Yeah.
30s because now you have so much more life to be fucking you. Isn't that so
Yes.
amazing? Like, that is so, I know it's people like to take it for granted, but let me tell you, I feel the same exact way. My last like suicide attempt was obviously the final one because I'm here today. But when I tell you, like, that was like a light switch for me, like a complete light switch in a way that I like physically thought I had like a lens come over my eyes and I saw life so fucking different. And from that moment, I was like, yo, I can finally live life for Nay. Because I was living life for so many other people and it was killing me from the inside out. It
Yes.
really was. And that's like that big thing, that big moment, like resistance over time. If you continue to ignore it and do shit that you know you don't want to do, you know, you're like, yo, fuck this shit. This sucks. It's mentally draining. I hate it. But you continue to do it everywhere, anyways, over time, like that will eventually kill you, whether it's mentally, physically, or in sickness. Like it will kill you because you're out of alignment. And I
Yes.
know your business now is all about becoming in alignment,
Yeah.
which is so beautiful, by the way. I love that.
Thank you.
Of course. So tell me more. Like, how did you even get into? Well, I guess let's pick up from that job that you were doing for 3 years.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
the fuck did you get here now? Like, what?
Yeah, so I think in a way, getting that VA job was kind of like proving to my parents, like, okay, I can do like the right way of like getting the master's degree and getting
Mm,
the government job. And I was still finding a way to be somewhat authentic, and I was able to like help people, right?
yeah.
So I loved the interaction with people, but the red tape of the system was
Mm,
just drowning me. The They gave you no time in between patients, in between clients. I was drowning in paperwork. Like
I
I could
bet.
not keep up with the documentation. I was running like 5 groups, 5, 6, 7 groups a week, something insane. And then also
Ye-
like
Damn.
having like back to back like one-on-ones.
Yeah,
And you have
shit.
to do like really detailed notes to CYA, right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I was drowning. I was totally drowning. Then COVID hits.
Mm. So here we are, 2020.
Here we are, 2020,
2020.
COVID hits, and I'm in the addictions clinic. Like, what do you think happens, right? Like, we're
Yeah.
just flooded.
Right. Oh
We're
my God.
flooded. And I'm already drowning. And I'm like, okay, and so like I had always thought like if I could ever work from home, it would be so much better. Well, they forced us home and it wasn't better. I was still not happy. But in that time period, I've always been like a socialite. Like I love going out. I mean, Houston is like a foodie town. That's where I'm from. It's like all bad food. Like it's just, it's like soul food.
Yum.
It's like, yeah. So everything shut down and I was like, okay, if I'm ever gonna get like a rein on my own physical body, this is the time to do it when I don't
Yeah.
have the distraction of everyone inviting me out.
Right.
And I also, in a way felt like a hypocrite because I'm like providing therapy to people on addiction, which while I'm not like addicted to alcohol or illicit drugs, like I'm still going outside in between clients to have a cigarette and
Yeah.
like I've got a stack of chocolate in my drawer to like relieve stress. I mean, it's all the same.
Yeah. Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to get a handle on this. So I hired coaches to help me with my physical body.
Yeah.
And in the onboarding call of that coaching, I talked to my coach about my morning routine. And I told her, I'm already like journaling, I'm already meditating. And she's like, you already have so much discipline. You're already so structured. We just need to figure out a way to translate this to your physical body. Like, I hadn't figured out how to prioritize my physical body
Mhm.
as much as I prioritized my soul and my energetic levels.
Yeah.
I've always been really into spirituality and, like new age
Awesome.
metaphysics and stuff.
Yep. It's great.
And so that was that. She helped me learn how to translate that and direct that energy toward my physical body. And it just started falling off because
Literally.
I just needed the direction. So
Yep.
I dropped 70 pounds in 9 months.
Which is fucking insane. One, I want to say, like, you guys are watching this now, looking at Crystal with her fucking beautiful ass shoulders that are so strong as hell that I can't stop staring at.
Thank you.
But you'll have to send me your before picture so I
Okay.
could put it somewhere on this screen when I edit it so you guys can be like, yo, this bitch has truly evolved. Because I think they need to see it to put the clip. Because even like you right now, like I'm sure like the energy, the aura, you'll be able to see that shit. Like the difference of who you were versus now. Because now you're just like, I know I didn't know you then, but I know we've had conversations before. And I just like, you're just like a ray of sunshine. Like I just see like just yellow around you. Like you're just such a happy, positive being.
Thank
And
you.
it's beautiful to see. And I want people to know that like, yes, it hasn't always been rainbows and sunshines, but you put the fucking work in, you listened to your intuition, and you took the needed steps to get to where you're at now. So
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
okay.
I'll put the picture here somewhere, y'all, because this was amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much.
Of course.
So yeah, they offered for me to come work for them,
Right.
and I took it as a sign from the universe. I had already been going through, I really, like while I was at the VA, I was already going through an entrepreneurship program called Leadership Launch. And that was teaching me a lot of entrepreneurial principles, but I was
Awesome.
still terrified.
Right.
And I don't know that I would have taken the leap if I didn't have this other position in between.
Okay.
So I left the VA and went to work for these other women. And I was one of their very first coaches. I think I was their second coach on the team.
So they had just started their business
They
as
had
well?
just started.
Oh shit. So brand
Yeah.
new, fresh, welcome to the team. Wow.
Right. So, I mean, they were barely able to take me on full time.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
a lot of that was me like on the back end working sales calls on the weekend to boost my income, because otherwise with just the coaching, I wouldn't have been able to leave the VA.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started initially before, because I wasn't quite ready to jump yet, I started part-time as sales to
Oh, okay.
see how good I could get at selling
Right.
before I could feel comfortable to jump. So I started working for them part-time in like September, and I didn't jump for full time until January.
That's still pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's a quick turnaround. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did that for a year and a half. It was so January to January was full time. And then that following March, which was
Mhm.
this March 2022, is when I resigned from that position and started being and becoming in alignment.
Which is so fucking awesome. So, what made you kind of want to start being and becoming in alignment and kind of taking coaching on your own? Like, when did you know, like, man, I could do this shit for myself? With
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
shade at the other company at
No,
all.
no, no,
No
no.
shade. Just like when did that moment hit for you? Because that shit hit for me. It hits every
Totally.
entrepreneur at some
Yes.
point. That's why we
Yes.
become entrepreneurs.
And I think the big challenge, well, there were a couple moments down the line,
Right.
One of the moments was I was gifted a book called The 360 Leader.
Hmm.
And it's a fabulous book. It's written by John Maxwell. He's got a ton of leadership books. The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is like still on my bookshelf. It's amazing. But this like 360 leader was talking about how you can be happy or feel fulfilled when you're not like at the top, like when you're not actually the owner, when you're like in middle management. And I just kept reading it and I was like, I get it, but like, I don't think this is for me. Like, I don't want to be in the middle. And then another thing was just like, I kept taking them ideas and they were like poo-pooing them. And I'm like, but like, I legit see gaps where like we could do this better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it was just kind of, yeah, yeah, okay, whatever. They were just like putting it to the wayside. And I'm like, yo, like, yeah, this can be done better. Like, I want to do this better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, I need to go off and do this on my own because I know I have a background in mental health that, most fitness and nutritionists, like, they just, it makes me more well-rounded. I've got
Yep.
a
Agreed.
background that allows for so much more healing than only looking at the workout and the food you're putting in your body.
Like the external.
Yeah.
You handle the internal shit too,
Yeah.
which is fucking important for just overall alignment. And I think it's just really important too to project as a coach because nowadays there comes more sickness mentally and physically from the fitness world because there's so much fucking pressure to look a certain way, right? And it's so like now there's like Crystal, there's so many fucking coaches, right? Everyone's a fucking coach now. Everyone's now an
Yes.
online coach who charges $10,000 a month, but they didn't even go to fucking college to learn anything or have a proper training degree. Yet,
Agreed.
right?
And
And it's
they
all
like
like a look.
I have so after I left them because they wouldn't allow me to have another coach while working for them.
So wait, you couldn't have your own personal coach while was it a physical coach or a business coach?
Neither. No, like we
Oh,
serve everything for you kind of thing. So I was not allowed to go outside
that's weird.
to get
Yeah.
mentorship.
Uh,
I mean, I was allowed to like listen to podcasts and things, but I
right,
wasn't
right, right,
allowed to
right.
like hire another coach.
Physically pay someone else to
Right.
guide you in any way. Got it.
So after I resigned that position, I went ahead and I went through another 4 coaches.
Damn, four?
4. 4.
Shit.
And I just left in March.
I was gonna
We're
say since
having this
2022.
discussion in December. I've been through 4 coaches and we're talking like physical like fitness and nutrition coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing this up because you said like, these days everybody's a coach and there's so much emphasis on the physical look of
Mm-hmm.
someone. And this is what I have gathered in this short amount of time. It's incredible because I've hired some coaches that have like hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I've hired some like top tier coaches
Yeah.
and none of them had consistency, follow through, had healed and worked on their own stuff. Now, we're all an ongoing process and
Of course.
everyone's human, but like
Of course.
ghosting me for weeks at a time, like not communicating, like I'm just like blown away. Like I take I take the role of coach so seriously.
I hear you. Yep.
Like I can never dream of not following through for my people and not communicating in an effective manner.
Especially when it's your fucking name and business. That's what blows my mind. and you're a top tier coach who's well known. Like that's your name. That's your everything.
And then this shows how unhealed people truly are, because when they get ghosted and then that person comes back with not even a full apology and they keep following them because they have abs. It's just like
I hate that shit so much.
it's just
Because if you
like,
think about it, it's all like you're just regurgitating someone else's crap. Like, how can you truly help others if you're coming from a place where you need help first? Because you can only teach what you know. You can only share what you already have. But if energetically you're not resonating at a level that that client really fucking needs to be their highest self, like as a coach, like you are doing your client a fucking disservice. A huge fucking disservice. And that shit pisses me off in the coaching world so much. So
yeah,
much. So much.
there's
It's
so
crazy.
much just like, I just like overheard so many damaging comments. Like, I brought a friend into a live workout with me with one of these groups, and like she was having a hard time with burpees, and it was like one of those like live Zoom rooms.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, and I know because I'm a coach, but I was
Right.
like giving him the like stage because he's
Of
running the
course.
show.
Of
And I was
course.
like, hey, so and so, like, my friend's having a hard time with burpees. Like, can you give her a modification? And he was like, a modification for getting on the ground and back up. And I was
Like, why
like,
that comment?
wow, like, that's so
Like, why?
shaming. Like, public shaming? Why are we doing that?
Oh God, some people really cannot, like, should not be coaches, like, should not be in a position of empowerment when you're really
Right.
not even fucking empowering, because then others think that's the way. And if they can't compete because they're just not at that level yet, because it's
Yeah.
all fucking baby steps, you aren't born doing this shit, it's baby steps, right? Then it's only going to make them feel shittier of themselves.
And she
But
didn't
this
want to come back. Right.
Right? I bet. But also, Crystal, this pisses me off so much because it's the fact that people are making their business based off others' fears. And I don't fuck with that in the
Ooh.
world at all. I don't fuck with making money off people's fears. I hate that. I hate that so much because I almost see it as you're taking advantage of that person and how they feel about themselves, especially when you don't fucking follow through. Like, that's not cool. Because imagine how that person feels for themselves. They just dumped what, 5 to 10K thousand dollars down the drain in a year for a professional fucking coach. Like, let's be real. These people and their prices nowadays.
Oh,
I
I
know
know.
you've seen it. It's high, right? And nothing has changed. But now they feel even fucking worse. Or it's on the opposite spectrum. And that coach is just, they don't know what they're doing. So they cut everything in half. They put these clients through extremes. And now the client is barely surviving because they're not eating enough. They're doing way too much. Now their adrenal glands are fucking shot through the roof. Now their cortisol levels are so high that all they do is gain weight even if they don't fucking eat in a day. Like, it's a mess.
It's a
And it's
mess.
all because they just want the money and to take a cute, like, flexing photo for the gram. And it pisses me off because most of the time, what you got is aesthetics and you paid money to get those muscles. You didn't fucking go to a gym and eat enough calories because I seen your eating a days. I seen them on Instagram. You don't eat enough for those abs.
Right. And it is so scary because people are really following these people simply for their like physique, but like
Yeah,
physique really does not show the whole story of who you're hiring.
amen. That is so true. Especially when you hear the especially when it's like their experience and their I'm losing the term, but it's like what I'm looking for is like what, so you have all these degrees to show for, I have my degree to show for, right? But for them, they don't have any of that, so they use themselves. They're like, hey, I lost 100 pounds in 3 months. Anybody can do it. Let's do it my way. But that's where you make the biggest mistake as a coach because you think that everybody's just like you. You think they went through the same shit as you do, but they didn't. And that's where only a real fucking coach can handle,
Yeah.
like you. Like you. Some real shit.
Yes.
Crazy. But yeah, Crystal. All right. Well, now tell us what all being and becoming in alignment is about. Like, fast forward, it's damn near almost 2023, which
Yeah.
is so exciting. It's almost like almost a year of you fully being like full by yourself, right?
Yes. March. I did it. I
March
went out on my
2023.
own on the new moon in March. I think it was March
I love
3rd.
that about you. Yes, you would. On the new moon.
It just so happened. It just so happened to be that day. It's like, well, this is when the universe wanted me to
Yep,
go off on my own.
that is facts. Good for you. What would be your biggest regret of starting your business?
Ooh.
Mhm.
Um. Oh, this is big. Okay. My biggest regret is when I first launched, it gained a whole lot of attention and my quota just like filled up immediately, which is amazing. Amazing. I
Of
mean,
course.
like I hit waitlist only within the first 30 days of launching.
Love that for you.
Um, and then I was like, oh, this is easy. And I just kind of like rested on my laurels and just kind of like rode that wave. And I took a
Mhm.
bunch of trips. I mean, I needed that. I do feel
Of
like I
course.
needed that to like just heal from the toxicity that I came from.
Yeah.
But I should have really started putting into place some daily modes of operation to go ahead and start building my database and like
Mm,
I didn't know what I was doing yet.
right.
So it took like, people are healing like the full quota. Yeah, I was at the full quota and then people started healing, which, I am not about creating dependency. So
Right.
it's like
Yep.
once you're healed and ready to fly the nest, fly. But then
Exactly.
I didn't have more people to fill those slots. And then I started scrambling to figure out,
Mm,
oh, how do I start marketing myself to start generating more interest with people who don't already know me?
right.
And I should
Yeah.
have started doing that immediately.
Lesson learned though.
Yeah.
You had to learn that one.
Yeah.
And it's only going to make it better for you now
Totally.
as you're learning. I mean, you're in your first year and you've already seen so much change, so much success. I can only imagine what year two, three, four, and who even knows with this world, like what's going to come to this world where you can just level up your business in different ways to grow with the world, right? Because
Yeah.
it shit's always gonna change. Look at technology right now. We're soon gonna be flying our cars. Give it like 50 years. We're gonna be flying these shits in the sky.
I hope so. They
Me
promised me that shit
too.
in the 80s. Like, how is it not here yet?
Damn. I'm gonna wait on this one.
Yeah. I'm ready to
How is it
fly.
not
I've been
here yet?
waiting.
That's amazing. Same. And now, what would be, I guess, what I want to ask you? What would be like three? Let's go with three. Three things that you would tell a listener right now, whether it's in regards to coaching, whether it's just in regards to your life and finding out what like that true passion is, or if it's just a piece of advice. Like, what would be three fucking things you want a motherfucker right now to take from this episode?
Oh, that's so good. If you resonated with me talking about not knowing who you are or how to be authentic, I really encourage you to consider to start a process of future self journaling.
Mm,
That really helped me to figure out who I am and what I want in life. And it really started helping me to craft my identity and drop into the feeling of alignment of where I am now. Like I was imagining this, I was writing about this feeling way back then when I looked in the mirror, I couldn't see it.
yeah.
So start a process of writing down, what you're grateful for and what you're so happy and grateful for now that things have happened, even if they haven't yet.
Yes.
Write them in the present tense, but write your goals down as if they've already happened. Get in a mode of celebrating your wins.
Yes.
We are so hardwired to beat ourselves up and think of all the shit that went wrong throughout the day.
So true.
Get in the process of writing down 2 or 3 wins that happened throughout the day, things that you're proud of, things that you're proud that you followed through on. And create some affirmations that make you feel empowered, and stand in the mirror and talk to yourself as if you are that person already, because the feeling is the prayer. You have to get in the feeling.
That is so true.
You got to get in the feeling. Like there's a guy that I really love. His name is Greg Braden, and he talks about not praying for rain, but going outside barefooted and dancing in the mud.
That's beautiful. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So get in the mode of acting as if, dancing in the mud. Get back in sync with that inner child who used to play pretend.
Mm-hmm.
We've forgot how to do that over the years.
Right.
But really just enjoy that process of becoming. The whole idea behind being and becoming is learning to feel gratitude for where you're at now, who you are now, while looking forward to who you're becoming.
Yes.
And that alignment, that harmony of being able to do both at the same time.
Yes. Because you can't be one without the other.
Yeah, I mean, you can be grateful for who you are now, and you can also just like be kind of complacent because you're like, okay, I'm here, you know. It's like that willingness to keep reaching, but
Right.
some people are reaching and also in a shame spiral for who they are right now.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's that harmony of being and becoming at the same
Right.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't. It's so hard too, because like you said, we're so hardwired. But you can't sit here and wish on a star because your life is so bad or because you just don't have that love for yourself, but still write down all these affirmations and write your goals. But it's because you're looking for the future. You're looking for that star to come true. You're looking for that wish to come true, but you're not enjoying it now. You're not loving you now. You're not being the you now. Like that's you have to be that now in order to continue to step up, up, up. Because otherwise, again, like you're fucking wishing on a star and you're staying complacent. You're staying right here.
Yes.
And that's the worst place to I just said a quote the other day that I saw on Instagram and I fucking loved it. The worst place that you can be is in between success and failure because you're not fucking doing anything to create a result.
Oof.
You are literally just fucking waiting. You are just sitting in the gray zone, and that is a dangerous place to be. Because success and failure, they're both results from doing something,
Oh, that's so good. Yes.
right? And you cannot succeed without failing. You just can't. Because at some point you will fucking fail because you need to. You need to fail in order to be told, yo, there's a better way.
Failure is
Oh, it's really
feedback.
exactly. Failure is feedback. Oh, Crystal, that was beautiful what you said. And thank you so much for saying those things. I'm sure it's going to hit somebody here beyond sure. And then just before I let you go, do your thing. I know you have to go do a meditation and handle some clients, but I want you to talk a little bit more about being and becoming in alignment. So like what is that? How is that different from any other coaching gig? Like why should people go to you? Like what do you have to
Yeah.
offer?
Yeah, my intention truly is to help people heal from within. We're focusing inwards, we're turning the focus inward.
Yes.
Sure, we're still talking about intentional movement. We're still doing nutrition education, while we're getting at the root of what is causing that weight to linger.
Mm.
We're figuring out how to allow the body to surrender the weight naturally. That's just a byproduct. As we heal
Yeah,
from within, the weight just falls off. So,
it really
so
does.
yeah, so we're healing from within. When you come to me for one-on-one coaching, we're going through a full assessment, mind, body, energy, how you did through the pandemic, how your childhood was, what your environment is like now. Environments are social, mental, physical. Like we're doing a full assessment of everything that is creating your current level of wellness. And then we have an onboarding call where we talk about a day in the life of you typically, and I'll be listening for potential gaps and blind spots. And then together we collaborate to figure out systems that truly feel like baby steps. It's not going
Yeah.
to feel like jumping over the canyon. I'm not going to throw this huge program at you. We're going to create a program that fits into your life instead of trying to
Mm.
wedge a program into your life. We're going to work,
Yes.
we're going to work it. So we're going to collaborate and figure out what best works. And then things can always look great on paper. And then what happens? Life happens, right?
Life.
So then you've got me on walkie-talkie to help hold you accountable and to help troubleshoot as, okay, on the call, I really thought that this was going to work. And now that I'm living it out, this ain't working. How
Right.
can we redirect? So we'll figure it out as we go. And you've got me there with regularity. You can send me photos. You can send me, I'm there. You got me in your pocket. You got a mental health professional, a certified nutritionist, and a personal trainer in your
Yes.
pocket. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It also comes with my coaching app where I'm running 3 classes a week live. I run
Awesome.
meditations, workouts, and then I've got rotating classes on nutrition, mental health, emotional resilience, and mindset work.
That's so dope, girl. I didn't
Yeah.
know that you had all of that going on.
Yeah, I've got that. And then I've got that as a standalone thing as well. If you don't need the whole,
Yeah,
coaching
shebang.
program, then that's a little monthly subscription for just access to that.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. And they will, so if they just want to do the app, they just won't have access to you, or do they still get access to you?
Well, I'm there in the app. There's also a feed in there, like a Facebook feed where like everybody's
Cool.
in there. It's like a little, we call it the infinitely aligned tribe. And so
That's
we're all
so
in there
cute.
like supporting one another. So I love it because it's away from the riffraff of social media. It's its own
Mhm. Island.
controlled environment where you're not
Yeah.
giving your information away to Meta or whatever that is. And
Right.
you're not being advertised to. Like you're legit going in there for just full alignment. Everything that
Yes.
you get in there is going to be in full alignment to your goals.
That is so awesome. Wow, that sounds really fun.
Yeah, it
That
is
sounds like
really
a
fun.
beautiful thing. Good for you. I'm so happy that you created that for yourself because
Thank
that's fucking
you.
beautiful. And I like that it's not on Meta
Yeah.
because, like you said, y'all will be shocked at how much information of yours is put out everywhere
Go
through fucking
watch The
Facebook
Social
and Metaverse.
Dilemma. The Social Dilemma.
It's on Netflix,
I believe so. It's on one of the things. It's on
one of the
Amazon
things.
or Hulu or something. I think it is on Netflix though. Yeah.
It's very interesting. All right, Crystal, how the heck can people contact you? How can they check you out? How can they follow you after this?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so my Instagram is Catalytic Creator. That's CATALYTIC Creator. So there's 2 C's in there.
Yep.
On there is my link tree. In my bio is the link tree. On Facebook, I'm just Crystal Catalina. And TikTok, I'm Crystal Catalina and the number 1. And my website is beingandbecominginaalignment.com.
Beautiful. And then you guys, I will also put all of this information on the screen as she talks once I edit this bad boy. And I'll also put them all in the show notes or any bio or description that I link this video to, so that you guys can have super easy access to Crystal if you're interested in working with her. And you already know, because I said this on so many other episodes, if you listen to my podcast, that I don't just pull people out of my ass to talk about shit. I truly let the universe, which is essentially our highest selves, I let my highest self give me that energetic pull to reach out to people. And I would never have anybody on my podcast that I was not fully in alignment with, or that I energetically resonated with, or honestly, that was full of shit and wasn't for the best of all. Because you know what this podcast is about? It's about helping you all just get to a place of awareness. And I want to be a source. I want to be a source with, like, oh shit, look, universe, I asked for a personal trainer. I asked for an online coach. Here I listened to an episode and there's fucking one that Nay recommended. That is my goal, being that hub, that source. So, Crystal, thank you so much for playing a part of that role, because I really couldn't even have this episode without you. There's no one else that comes to mind when it comes to this episode. So, thank you again so freaking much for just everything you've done, from the decisions you fucking made, because it led you and I to this exact moment separately, but also as one, because we had this collab. And if you think about it, if you and I never went through that mutual thing you and I went through, would we even have fucking been here today?
Nope.
Who fucking knows? Exactly. So I'm very grateful, even though, I'm just very grateful.
I'm
So
so grateful too. Thank you so much.
my pleasure, girlfriend. You have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
You too.
Yes. Bye, y'all.